Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As always, welcome to Stories Written by a Current Prisoner, live directly from California prison.
So what did they call you?
Right. Call me Joker, but my name's Ali.
What are you incarcerated for and how long is your sentence?
I'm incarcerated for mayhem and burglary, and my sentence 50 to life.
Where are you from out here on the streets?
I'm from Calexico.
Do you or did you belong to any type of gangs, groups, organizations?
At a young age, yes.
Do you mind saying where you were from back then?
Back then, I was from Calexico.
You know, for the people out there, man, who are not aware of what certain laws mean and certain crimes, would you be able to explain to us exactly what mayhem is? What does it mean when you get charged with mayhem?
Mayhem is depriving somebody of a body part or maiming them or like cutting his face, throat, off an arm, that kind of stuff. Honestly, everybody's different, right? You know, some people become law enforcement, some people become teachers, some people become gangsters, you know. There ain't really nothing to it. It's just somebody had to do it.
So talk to me about your crime, man. We're going to go ahead and get straight to him, and that way we don't waste any time, man. And
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And correct me if I'm wrong, sir. You explained to me that you stated that you were innocent.
I got convicted because of prejudice. I got convicted because somebody had heard my name in the streets and knew that I was coming out of Pelican Bay, and they used my name as a suspect, you know, as a suspect to get somebody convicted. But my crime, nobody witnessed my crime. Nobody knew nothing about what happened that day, what the crime that I was convicted for, you know.
And based off what's on black and white, based off what's on court records, what exactly are they charging you for? What do they think that you're guilty of? What happened?
Well, the prosecution's theory is that a man got shot on Calexico Street in Calexico, right? The dude, when he was shot, he said, hey, you know, I don't know who did it, right? They took him to the hospital. He said it was a drive-by. The prosecution's theory was that I was in a house by that street, walked to the corner of where that house is at and shot him, which is not true, right? They said that there was a person that lived in the front that seen this dude walking with nothing in his hands behind the other dude that got shot. You seen a car pass by, and that's when that dude was shot, you know? But the dude had nothing in his hands, so the dude would be me, the one that walked behind the dude that got shot in the corner, coming out from the house in that street. That was the prosecution's theory. Well, when the dude got up and he started making statements and stuff like that, because he got shot in the leg with a shotgun, right? The cop, okay, so when the cops get to the scene, it's she used to be a girl that I used to talk to, right? I guess I don't know, like I don't want to like smut her up, right? But like okay, put it like her daughters were upset at her, you know? Her daughters were upset at her that she was dating somebody that wasn't her dad, you know what I'm saying? So when they see that happened, right, the first thing that they could think of, the first thing that they could do, right, like to break up the marriage, because their parents had broken up a marriage, which was who they wanted, you know, their dad, their biological dad and stuff like that. They used my name to get me caught up in that. But that's like right there, like that street, right? Like it goes into the park, like, you know what I mean? Like the cops, like based on the cops' testimony, it's a high crime area. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there was like a lot of like when the dude was in the streets, he was shot up, and his bike was stolen, his shoes were stolen, his phone was stolen, like right in front of the cops, you know. So, you know, my defense, my attorney, which was an ineffective attorney, right, asked the prosecutor, like, you know, like, how could, you know, this guy get shot? We see a dude walking away from the crime scene with two bikes that obviously jacked this dude, right? And the cops didn't stop him, you know? Like, how do we know that this guy wasn't the one that shot him? Like, why are we putting all the blame on me, you know, on Ali, you know? And the cops did try to stop somebody, right, that does not look like me at all, right? The dude's jacking this fool, the dude that got shot. No. And the cops just let him go. Like, I was like, man, like, you know, like, how do we not know that that wasn't the dude that shot him? Or, like, you know, like, how do we not know that somebody else shot him? Like, the dude said that it was a drive-by, so how is it that I got convicted if, you know, I wasn't in a car? Like, allegedly, they said that they seen if it was me, you know what I mean? Based on the prosecution's theory, if the dude that came out of that house walked up to the dude that got shot, right, that wouldn't fit the victim's description. Which, by the way, I got an affidavit from the victim stating that he knows me, that he's my friend, that it wasn't me. I wasn't the one that shot him. I'm still here doing 50 to life.
Where did the mayhem charge come into play?
The mayhem charge came into play because his leg was, like, his knee and everything was it was off. I don't know if you're familiar with shotguns, but there's different types of shots, right? There's slugs, there's buckshot, and there's birdshot, right? Slugs, you use them to hunt like big animals, you know, like deer, you know, like things like that, right?
Right.
You use buckshot for that too, you know, right? But birdshot, right? You use it to hunt small animals like birds, doves, what's the one? Geese, like different turkey, right? You use to hunt. You use birdshot to hunt those, right? Because you're not gonna shoot a deer with a birdshot. So this dude in his report, he says he got shot with buckshot, right? So the buckshot, it destroyed his leg, you know, his knee off, and I mean, it made a hole through his leg.
Now, when did you find out that you were being tied into this?
I was kicking it in the city of Calexico, and I seen a cop. I had a knife in my pocket. I had just gotten out of prison for a knife. They gave me 2 years for carrying a knife, right? I seen this cop, and she pointed a gun at me. She took out her gun, and she pointed at me, right? So I was like, what the fuck, right? I dodged, I ducked, and I ran away from the cop, you know? They chased me, they caught me, right? They surrounded me. I came out, and I got arrested. That's when they told me all my charges.
What did they tell you?
They took me to the police station. They left me there for hours without knowing nothing, you know? Like, that's a psychological, trying to break you down, you know? It's a psychological tactic that they use. They put you in a room that's like really freezing, you know, like a cold room. Like, you know, without telling you nothing, just trying to, like, you know, that's the little tactics that the cops use. So by the time that they put you in the investigation room, you're like, oh, I just want to get the fuck out of here type of shit. Like, you know what I mean? So I go to an investigator pulls me out. And I tell him like, hey, you know, like, I plead the fifth. Like, I don't want to talk to you, you know? And the dude keeps trying to like, oh, I'm just going to answer general questions. Like, what's your name? This, and that, you know? Like, it's another rules, right? And, that's their way of trying to violate Miranda, you know, Miranda rights, your Fifth Amendment and stuff like that, right? That they try to like ask you general questions and then they throw you crime related questions, you know what I mean? Once they reach your rights, you know, which at the time that you invoke for your attorney, they should not interview you at all, you know, which I did, but they kept interviewing me, trying to interview me. And
you have 60 seconds remaining.
In hopes that you would incriminate yourself.
Yeah, in hopes that I would like just follow whatever they say, just to like, you know what I mean, like leave or you know, you're in a situation where it's like, man, you know, like they're saying you did something, like, you know what I mean.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
How do you convince somebody that it wasn't you? You know, like, you can't. Like, it's impossible. Once they have you painted as a suspect, it's a wrap, you know?
Hey, Ali, it's about to hang up on us, man. Can you call me back, bro?
I'll call right back, bro.
Okay, let's go.
All right, now, man. All right. So, yeah, that's how I found out that I was charged with mayhem and other crimes.
Now,
that's when I found out.
Now, going back to that day, if you weren't the one there, where were you? What were you doing? Did you have an alibi?
Yeah, at that time I was with my homie. I had been out of prison in 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks. That's all I lasted out of there, right? I came out of right here, Pelican Bay. Well, actually, I went down to Centinela, and then they paroled me for Centinela. But yeah, I was out for 3 weeks, so I was kicking with one of my friends that I know from a long time. Like, he's my childhood friend. Like, I know him from like elementary and everything like that. Like, you know what I mean? And we were kicking it, you know, smoking, drinking, whatever, you know. And that's I mean, my friend even told the investigator and stuff like that. Like, hey, you know, like, my friend was over here with me. Like, he was not out there shooting people. Like, this is what happened, you know. We got a pizza. Man, no, like, out of all the evidence that I got, my favorite prosecutor did not care at all about nothing. Nothing I had to say. Yeah, but my friend did support my alibi. Like, the victim supported my alibi. Like, I mean, I don't know how I'm convicted. That's crazy.
The victim, is he a gang member?
The victim's not a gang member. He's like a Mexican national, you know. Yeah, he's a regular guy. He works in the field. He's a good dude, you know.
You know, obviously this happened in your neighborhood, in your barrio. So obviously, you know, where it travels like wildfire. You know, what was the neighborhood rumor then? If you obviously, if it's anybody that knows what happens in the barrio, it's you guys. What happened? What really happened to him?
Wow, what was said, right? Wow, you know, rumors. Every time somebody tells a rumor, right? Like, I could tell you a rumor, right? And then you tell somebody else a rumor. The way that I told you and the way that you told somebody else is not going to be the same way, you know? Like, it's going to change. So by the time that, like, the cops got the rumors and stuff like that, because, like I said, I was in the county jail. I heard a lot of stuff, but you know what I mean? What the cops said was that the dude, Tobar, was breaking into a house, right? And that he got shot. He got shot for breaking up into a house.
So at the end,
which is crazy too, because it's like,
Go ahead.
How are you not gonna be able to defend your fortress, your castle, like? But whatever, like that's not like, I'm just saying, like, like if that would have been the case, which I have no idea, right? Like it's like, okay, well that's the facts, like whatever, like. But that was a prosecutor's case. What was your question?
Another question is, why did they sentence you to so much time? If there was no one that was murdered, there was no one that was killed, why did you get so much time?
They gave me so much time because they knew that they got the wrong person. That's why. They knew that all the evidence was against them. They knew that I should have been exonerated. They wanted to convict me, and they're so used to people just signing deals, and like nobody ever fights for their freedom no more, Like they want to like intimidate you, bully you, tell you that they're the state, that they got unlimited resources to convict you, and that, you know what I mean, there's no way you're gonna get away with nothing that they accuse you of, like, you know what I mean. So you better just sign a deal, or else we're gonna give you an excessive amount of time. So I'm one of the ones that didn't break the down, and they unravel their wrath on me, like that ain't justice, to me.
Why didn't you, so you took this all the way to trial, or did you actually take a deal?
Yeah, I lost in trial. They offered me 20 years, but I'm not guilty. And I was in the sign 20 years. I didn't do it. Everything was in my favor. Like I should have been let go. Like, okay, let me tell you something, right? There was only 3 child witnesses against me. That one said, they said that allegedly after the shooting, somebody went through their house with a 3-foot black object that looked like a gun with a wooden handle, right? The object was left in the backyard in a back fence, and the dude came out of their house, left, right, with their mother in a getaway vehicle, white Taurus, right? Well, when they take him to the police department, because they're like, hey, like, who was this guy? Like, do you know who this guy is? They're like, yeah, we need to look at our mom's phone to tell you who this guy is, right? So the first thing that they gave wasn't even my name. It was Miguel, And then they go like, oh, but it might have been something like Joker, And then when they said Ali, the Hura was the one that said, Ali Barambegi, like, he knew me since we have history. Like, as soon as he heard Ali, like, it couldn't have been no other Ali but me, in Calexico. Like, he started yelling my name. He radioed in my name. Like, he was sure that it was me. Like, like, he never, like, continue to ask questions to any of the child witnesses. These are 11 and 13-year-old kids that say that they seen somebody walking. Like, they didn't see the shooting or nothing. They just said they seen somebody walking through their house where her mom was at. You know what I mean? And, wow, when the cops get there, the cops get there, they
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
The kids take them to where the gun was allegedly disposed, right? You know what they found? They found a 3-foot black BB gun with the wooden handle, right? Now, if you tie back the story around, right, it was like there was this kid, right, the third child witnesses. He said that after the shooting, right, that this dude pulled out a 3-foot gun with a wooden handle from their mother's trunk. So somebody was there, right? Whoever was there, right, opened the trunk after the shooting to retrieve another gun. You know what I mean? Not the one that was used in the shooting. To who knows? Maybe help out the dude that got shot. Maybe, like, you know what I mean? Not get shot himself, or who knows what the hell. You know what I mean? But there was a second gun. It was a BB gun. It was pulled out of the trunk. That's the one that the kid seen. That's what the police found in the backyard, and that's what the person that was in that house had when the shooting occurred. But that's not the gun that was used in the shooting. the cops didn't collect that gun. But you can see it on video. Wow. Oh, okay, so report on this. Okay, so you know how I told you that the cop got caught fabricating evidence against you? Well, they take the girls to the police department, right? They pick out a dude. They show him a six-pack photo lineup. They pick out a...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It's recorded on video, right? The girls are picking out a dude in the six-pack. It's the third dude in the six-pack with a black shirt, right? Well, the cop, right, says that he put that in evidence, whatever, right? Well, 10 days after I get caught up, right, I'm like, hey, I want my discovery, right? And they're not turning in the lineup, right? And I'm like, why aren't you turning in the lineup? Like, that's the most important thing, because I'm fighting that I'm innocent, that it's not me, that you guys got a mistaken identity, you know, like you mis-ID'd somebody, you know, that's not me. I wasn't the one that did that, you know? So the cop, right, he's like, oh, well, this is what we got in evidence, right? It's me in a muscle shirt. It's my booking photo, right? So when we looked at the video, we're like, how is it that they picked me out and that this is the original lineup that the cop stored in evidence, right? If it's me in a muscle shirt and the video shows somebody, the kid picking out somebody in a black shirt. Well, in the middle of my trial, we came to discover that the cop threw away my lineup or destroyed it. He says he lost it, right? But that's bull. He admitted under oath, he testified that he lost the lineup. He fabricated a second lineup with my booking photo, which my booking photo wasn't taken the day that they took the kids to go ID somebody. It was taken after that day. Right. So that picture didn't exist at the time that the kids were taken to the police department. So that in itself gave the cop away, you know, like, you stupid motherfucker, you're going to fabricate evidence and, like, you know what I mean? You're going to make a picture that didn't exist the day that the kids were taken to make an identification, right? So the cop destroys the lineup, fabricates the second lineup, plants it in evidence, turns it into my attorney as discovery, right? Then he goes to trial, right? He swears under oath that that's the original lineup, that he has stored in evidence, that that's the lineup that the witnesses had signed and stuff like that. And then we show the video, and then he comes back and he's like, yeah, I wasn't truthful. I should have made a report. I fabricated the lineup because it was the same thing. I was absolutely sure that Mr. Baron Beggy was guilty. So there's really not much harm made in fucking fabricating a lineup and lying under oath about it. Like, how do the cops get away with that? How do the cops get away with planting evidence of my case? Like, I don't understand. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand that. Like, my case should have been dismissed right then and there.
So what ended up happening, man? How did you get convicted, and how did you find out that you were going to serve so much time, and how did that affect you emotionally, mentally? How did that affect your family?
Oh, well, my mother, she went down the hill. Like, you know, my sister, she ended up in a mental asylum. It affected everybody. My mom, man, she started smoking a lot of like, that was her way to cope, you know. It was bad. It was bad, man. Family wise, man, it was bad.
So
my sister eventually recovered.
Nah, if I can imagine, man, the impact, the stress that you must have put on your family being sentenced to so much time. It must have devastated them. Must have drove your mom crazy, as it would any parent.
Yeah, it did. And what's crazy is that the judge, like, right, like, he, like, yeah, my mother, she tried to go to my jury so that she could see what was going on, like my trial. And the judge was very disrespectful towards her, you know, like accusing her.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Talking to witnesses and stuff like that. You want me to call you back, man?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
All right. At the beginning, I was like, I was still young. I was 24, right? And I was kind of used to this lifestyle, you know. I was like, man, you know, you win some, you lose some, like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you take some for the homies, you know. Like, I didn't care. Like, at the beginning, I was like, all right, you gave me life, well, you know, like, I'm gonna make it impossible for the cops in here, you know, like, my mind was messed up. I wanted to beat up every cop I seen. I wanted to beat up all the inmates that I didn't like. You know, like, I was a messed up person. Like, I just didn't care about nothing. And what saved me, right, was reading the law, right? Like, learning, like, every time that I would get mad or stuff like that, like, I'd turn my anger into something good, you know, which was reading, like, trying to study, learn the law, you know, because I was like, man, my motivation was like, okay, you know, like, you guys convict everybody because nobody's willing to learn. Nobody's willing to, like, file a habeas corpus and beat them at their game, you know? So I used my anger to learn the law. I actually took a course as a paralegal. I got my certificate. I took another advanced course. I started getting into college. You know, down the line, like, this wasn't at the beginning. At the beginning of my term, for like 2 years, I was just chaotic, you know. But
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
throughout all the time that I was in the hole and everything like that, like, I read a lot, so I started to learn a lot. I think I'm actually pretty good at all that stuff, like filing a habeas corpus and stuff like that. Like, I help out the other inmates in here doing that type of stuff, you know. No, I would just like to thank you, and I appreciate you giving me this time. And, you know, like, I'm here, like, I'm gonna continue to fight. I'm gonna continue to do my best, like, you know what I mean. Like, I think that it's always good to turn something like your anger and stuff like that on books and stuff like that, and reading and learning and becoming better. Like, I continue to better myself, and I will continue to do so, you know. And I appreciate you giving me this time to speak my truth, you know.
Nah, man, the pleasure is all, man. I sincerely appreciate you sharing your story, sharing your testimony, and unfortunately, what happened to you, man. And I wish you a lot of luck, and I hope you do get the justice you deserve, my friend.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you too.